Hi, everybody. Happy full moon online. I just finished welcoming everybody who is here in person in Los Angeles. So glad that you are with us too. We have a lot of fun planned for tonight. And what I was just telling the group is, by the way, I'm mic'd for the first time. I have a mic right there. And on my bra. I haven't really been mic'd before for full moon, so it was very awkward. I was telling them it's a full moon in Scorpio. I've got Brooklyn on sound. And she's trying to dig into my dress to figure out where on my underparts to put microphones. So that was a really exciting full moon in Scorpio. Little journey that we went on together. So she survived and we're here and you can hear me. It's very exciting. Okay. Anyway, the sound should be better than ever because I literally am booming my voice across this room and hopefully you guys online have better sound too. Hi, it's so good to see you. So I'm glad that you're here. So I was just introducing the room and telling them, look, it's a full moon in Scorpio. How many of you online have moon in Scorpio? Need to know. I know who's in the room. This lovely lady to my right has all water. Sun, moon, rising. You know, so it's a shit show for her today. It is. It's a cosmic, just a little cosmic shit show for her. Am I echoing? Check 1, 2. She can't dig into my underwear again while we're online, so we're going to figure this out without that happening. Okay, so there's an echo. We'll figure it out. Oh, God, Maria is a triple Scorpio. It's a spicy enchilada of a night for you, Maria. The good news is that it'll all go away soon. And so my advice is to enjoy. If you didn't see the piece that I wrote today, did anybody read it yet? It just came up this afternoon, so you may not have had a chance about how I feel when the moon transits Scorpio. I'm going to be writing one of these for each of the moon and all the signs. And this first one was really about my journey to understanding moon in Scorpio. One of the great loves of my life and my daughter, moon in Scorpio. So I know it both from a romantic place, I know it both in relationship, and I also know it in raising my child. And so what's really cool, what I want to tell you is this. Moon in Scorpio is the most challenging position of the moon that you can experience. Okay, so again, how many of you in the room? I think we had 3. 1, 2, where's my third? 3? 4? Do I see a 5? I see somebody wanting to be a 5. And then how many of you online would love to know? How many of you have moon in Scorpio? It's not a common placement, and it has different effects depending on what your sun sign is. And so if you have a fiery sun sign, then that moon in Scorpio brings an intensity of water to that fire, and it balances the elements out. So that's an easier placement. If you have a sun in Pisces, which my daughter has, and a moon in Scorpio, then it's really hard for you to be in reality. Like right here, right now, or just put on shoes, or maybe she told me, my daughter told me the other day, you know, Mama, I'm never going to drive a car. And I said, oh, okay. And she said, no, I don't think I'd be good at it, so I think someone else should drive me to the places that I'm going to go. And I said, you know, and of course my son is right there going, yeah, you'll never be good at it. You should never drive a car. So I'm like, no, Zoe, you'll be a very good driver. And she said, no, you know, sometimes I don't always know where I am. And so I think it's better if maybe somebody else drives. You know, and my poor husband is like, oh. Anyway, so that's my little sun Pisces moon Scorpio. She's on another planet, but it's a happy planet and she's really enjoying that planet. So I think it's a fine thing. It's just, you know, the water signs take us away. And part of what's so intoxicating about moon in Scorpio, and I really want you to think about this for a moment. Moon in Scorpio. Now I believe that you can expand in your life as much as you want. As much as you want to create, I think that's possible. And you can contract that vision and you can expand that vision and you can really make whatever you want out of your life. I truly believe that. Do you know what moon and Scorpio people teach us? That we can't just expand. We can also, you know, go vertical too. And moon and Scorpio people will go as deep and as far down as you want to go. And they're deep people. So when you sign on with a moon and Scorpio person, what you're saying is, I want to go all the way. And it's a choice you make. And let me tell you, they'll take you all the way because they're not afraid. And so they're intoxicating people because there's no there's no end to the depths of their emotions. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't get to the bottom of them. How intoxicating is that? You can get to the bottom of me. I'll just be honest. I'm not a moon in Scorpio. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a get down to business kind of girl. They're not that way. But, you know, can I tell you something? I have the emotional experiences that I have had with moon and Scorpio in my life have been some of the most fulfilling of my entire life, because as a double fire sign with an air rising, I don't know that depth of emotion. I don't have water in my chart, and so when a water sign makes that available to me, I treasure it. Do you know what I mean? I want to access all of that. And what's really interesting is I have manifested so much water in my primary relationships, and I think it's because the universe is trying to fill those gaps. And so I want you to think about tonight, where are your gaps? And is this moon in Scorpio situation one of your gaps? I'm hot, so I'm taking this off. Is the moon in Scorpio situation one of your gaps? I'm getting spicy while I talk about Scorpios. Woo! There's also a mic on my back that's sweaty. But anyway, is that one of your gaps? If emotion is one of your gaps, then tonight's going to be a really powerful way for you to connect with your deeper emotions. Now, like I said, tonight is going to be the most powerful love ritual of 2017. So if love is on your mind, if love is your medicine, tonight's the night. And so what we're going to do with our meditation tonight, I don't know if you know the whole story about Isis and Osiris, but I'm going to tell it to you because it's one of my favorite stories, and I'm a storyteller. Love it. I used to teach the history of Western civilization, and when I did, you know, the Egyptian pantheon wasn't really on my syllabus, but I found a way to kind of work it in because I love this story so much, and my students used to indulge me, which was very fun. I'm going to tell you the story of Isis and Osiris, which is more magical than I used to tell them. And then the story goes that Isis had to find Osiris. His body was scattered, and I'll tell you the whole story later on, in 13 pieces. And so the places where Isis went to gather the pieces of Osiris to remember him, the word remember means put back together. When you remember, you remember it, like arms and legs, right? You get it? She remembered him. He was in 13 pieces. Do you know does anybody know the only piece she couldn't find? Oh. So she couldn't find his member. And so she made it out of gold, which I really like. If you're going to make something like that, and it's got to be with you for a lifetime, it's nice and gold and hard. I'm sure she enjoyed that, so I'm not going to talk about that anymore tonight at all. That was the last time you'll hear me mention that. But there were 13 pieces of him. The feed's like penis, 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 penis. Woo! I can't take any more off. Okay. There were 13 pieces of him. So what I'm asking in our meditation tonight, and I want you to close your eyes because I'm being serious, I want you to set an intention. I'm asking Isis to show you your 13 places. And I say this to you as a shaman, you know, what shamanic work really is, the work that I do, the work that all of us do who consider us to practice in that tradition. What shamanic work really is going back and remembering yourself. It's putting back the pieces, putting them back together, pieces that you've shed over time. When we experience trauma as human beings, in the moment, in the traumatic moment, we let go. We release some part of the essence of that experience so that we can keep going. It's human experience. And a lot of us experience a lot of trauma, starting when we're babies. I mean, forget now. I'm talking about things from way, way back. And so shamanically what we do, and let me talk about the number 13 too, by the way. Did you know that Lemuria was submerged on a Friday the 13th? So everything that we think of as being Egyptian or magic or scary or all these things have their roots in Lemuria. My students are learning that right now. My online students were talking about Lemuria a lot. Anyway, Lemuria was destroyed on Friday the 13th. And Isis had to find Osiris in 13 pieces. There's a lot of magic there. I'm not going to be able to connect all the dots for you tonight, but just know it's all related, right? And so what we do in shamanism is we take you back through journey experiences starting in infancy, and we find the pieces of your soul, help you find, we don't do it for you, but we help you with your spirit guides and spirit totem animal spirits. We help you find the pieces that have been shed and put them back together so that you are remembered. That's the whole goal of shamanism. And so it's so interesting to me that we talk about Isis and Osiris almost as a proxy for that. You know, it's really almost an exemplar of what it looks like to go back and literally remember someone. But do you know why she did it? My favorite quote of this entire story. My favorite quote is, "And she breathed the breath of life into him." When she had all 13 pieces of him, she breathed the breath of life into him. And isn't that what I mean, at your best, as a lover, as a partner, isn't that what you do? Is you breathe the breath of life. And your partner does the same thing for you. I think that's the most important thing that we do as lovers and as partners, is we breathe the breath of life into our partner over and over and over and over again, every morning, every night. We're constantly, because we are sharing a life force energy. That's what partnership is. So it's all connected, it's all related. And so what we're going to do after Isis has taken you to discover those 13 places is we are going to breathe the breath of life into your truest love, into your immortal love. Whether you have that right now or whether you are seeking that, you know, maybe you've found it and you're trying to call it into present time, we're going to breathe a breath of life into that tonight. Are you ready for that? I'm ready for that. That's right. Yeah, Osiris had a crappy brother. Hey, have you had that experience? Brother that was jealous of you? You know what's funny is all the stories are the same. All the stories are the same. And so when you start to tease them out and you know, trace them through, it's beautiful. It also tells you, as Joseph Campbell reminded us many, many times, there is a monomyth. Have you read Joseph Campbell? Highly recommend it. Like, go to Amazon right now and start buying the books. If you haven't read Joseph Campbell, we can't be friends. I'm only partly lying about that. No, but it's really, really important. Like, if you want to know who the thought leaders were in my personal development, a lot of them are you know, philosophers and psychiatrists and psychotherapists, but he certainly was one who molded my thinking about many, many things. And so what Joseph Campbell taught us is that there's something called a monomyth or a meta myth. It is the one story. It's the one story. And it's what you find in Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and all of the trilogies and the great, you know, the great stories of our time, the Iliad and the Odyssey, right? It's like the hero stepping out and having to go on his journey and find a mentor and be challenged and go through the alchemy of that in order to come through the other side and to bring that wisdom back, because ultimately that's the hero's responsibility, is to go get wise and then bring that back and teach others with the wisdom that they gain. Sound familiar? That's what all of you guys are doing too. That's what I'm doing too. All of us are doing that all the time. But I share that with you because, you know, what he talks about is, even this is a monomyth. The Isis and Osiris tale is as old as time, and it's the oldest love story, I would say. It's the oldest immortal love story. But this narrative of having to go and search and put it back together and create and harness that energy is as old as time. It will always be there, right? So good. Okay, so Scorpio moon, it will be over soon. Take a nice deep breath. That Scorpio moon is all about death and rebirth. I heard a beautiful quote yesterday, and I honestly don't remember who told me the quote. It wasn't even really a quote, it was a concept, but I'm going to share it with you. What the person said was, do you know what Scorpios do? Scorpios, whether it's sun, moon, or rising, are really good at looking at life and figuring out what needs to be clipped, what needs to die, what needs to be released. Because Scorpio is about death, right? At the end of the day. Think about the time of year when their birthdays come. Hello, what's happening? Death, right? Scorpio, hi, not a good way to die. We'll just say that, being bitten by a scorpion. But anyway, they're about death and rebirth. And so with the Scorpio moon, which is all about that, like what's not seen, the moon is showing you what isn't visible to your eye. It's all about what needs to come up for you for you to allow it to die. Like, what in your life right now really needs to die, and you need to give it permission to go. Do you know what I mean? But what she was saying was, here's the trick with Scorpio. They know how to cut out what needs to die, but in order to do that and make sure they got all of it, they also have to cut out what is still alive. And that's why, isn't that interesting? That's why a wound from a Scorpio hurts so flippin' much, because they're not just cutting out of you what's dead. They have to take out what's alive around that too to make sure they got everything. Anyway, if you've ever had your spiritual ass handed to you by a Scorpio, it don't feel so good. And so when I meet people, by the way, I love Scorpios. I attract them like nobody's business. Scorpio men are the sexiest men alive. I swear to God. I have no ability to I see them, and you can see them from across the room, and it's just like I surrender. I surrender. Jesus, whew. It's like I can't, because they're not hiding it. Scorpio men are just, you look at them and they're like, I got it, and I'm like, I know you got it. I don't need it. I'm glad you got it. Glad you got it. Okay. So here are some words. Close your eyes. I want to inspire you to think. We'll start our ritual in just a second. I want to inspire you to think more deeply about Scorpio moon. Here are some words. A Scorpio moon can be described, a person with a Scorpio moon can be described as having a volatile inner landscape. To me, that sounds like a party, but it could also be really scary. Unrelenting passion. Scorpio people are said to be the best lovers in the zodiac. Well, again, I'm not going to talk about that. They also are constantly, for their entire lives, navigating the alchemical cycle. They don't just go through the alchemical cycle once to bring up, because alchemy is about transforming your base metals to gold, or transforming your bad life experiences to the good, or, bringing up what's dark in you and transforming it to the light. Scorpio moon people, their whole life is about that alchemical cycle, and so they are the master alchemists. Does that resonate with you guys in the room? Truly master alchemists, because they've already done all of this mining and digging. They know exactly where their shadows are and where all their skeletons are hidden. So they're really good at helping you figure that out. They also will call you on your crap. So they'll be like, really? Like, you haven't worked through that? And it's like, I don't need a therapist, but thank you so much for that. Okay. So that's Scorpio moon. The themes tonight are restorative love. Doesn't that sound nice? Restorative love. Love that restores you. And not just mentally or emotionally, but restores you to your soul's purpose. Gets you back on track. Growth, death, rebirth. They are both the great magicians and the great lovers. Scorpios in general, but Scorpio moon in particular. They're the great magicians and the great lovers. Guess who else is a great magician? Isis. So in the Egyptian pantheon, Isis is one of the most powerful goddesses. I'm going to say Isis goddess if I can when I refer to her, because interestingly enough, all purchases of the goddess ritual set were quarantined for a moment because of what's happening in our world. And so I'm just going to continue to say Isis goddess when I mention Isis tonight, just to make sure that our recording will be stable and be able to be archived and so forth. We're going through a difficult stage and phase in our beautiful planet right now. So the Isis goddess was called the Lady of 1,000 Names, and worship of her goes back about 3,000 years BC, and so you can see how extensive that time frame of working with her has been. Did you know that at a certain point, Thoth, or Thoth, depending on how you pronounce him, actually sent scorpions to Isis, the goddess? Isn't that interesting? So she was experiencing a challenge with Astarte. There are all kinds of stories. I can't get into the night because we don't have time, but there's lots of stories I could tell you. And so she was sent by these scorpions to protect her. And the scorpions ended up attacking the person that she was working with. And then Isis took the opportunity to heal the person after the attack and was actually revered as a magician after that, even though she caused the attack. So there's a little bit of question mark about that. Okay, so tonight we're talking about Isis and Osiris. They were king and queen of Egypt. They became king and queen of the underworld after Isis spent time remembering her husband, who was destroyed by his brother Set out of a fit of jealousy. He was dismembered, cut into 13 pieces, scattered across Egypt. The bigger story is that Geb, the sky god, and Nut, who was the earth goddess, had 4 children. Isis and Osiris were brother and sister. Did you guys know that? So when they married each other, there's a little... Now that was common, so don't get weirded out. That wasn't a bad thing. They had 2 other siblings, Set and Nephthys. Set was very jealous. Nephthys, it's interesting. Nephthys came into her own later from everything that I've read and worked with Egyptian mythology, but she was kind of like, she wasn't as significant as the other 3 siblings, I will tell you. And so that is where our meditation will pick up tonight. Immortal love. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you when I say love never dies? How many of you have had the experience of looking into the eyes of another human being in this lifetime and knowing that you had loved them before? Okay. How many of you have had that experience and not even looked in the eyes of the person? Maybe you just heard their voice, or maybe you just saw a picture, or maybe you just, right? I mean, forget it, right? Even historical figures, you can sometimes see a picture of a historical figure and you'll just know that has happened. So it doesn't even have to be a physical contact. I'll tell you, in my experience, and been doing this a long time, the eyes are the only part of you that don't change. Every part of you has changed. I've been a man many times. Many times. Which complicates sexuality, does it not? I mean, I really wish people would talk honestly about that. I really do believe women are so beautiful, and part of my appreciation and my admiration and my attraction to women is that I know I've been a man many times. So there are times where I'm like, woo. And Dave will watch me and he's like, I didn't want to do it, but you're right. Woo. He's like, since you did it first, it's legal. And I'm like, did you see her? Whew. But I've been a man many times. So if I pretend like, oh, no, I didn't see anything. No, that's okay. I think it's the mark of a strong woman who can look at another woman and go, damn. Hello, lady. Okay, so it doesn't even have to be physical. It's super fun when it is physical. So I'm going to read to you something right now. Close your eyes. This is when the moon transits Scorpio. This is my lived experience of moon in Scorpio. And like I said, it's based in love, it's based in raising my children, and it's based on my own experience of this beautiful moon phase. When the moon transits Scorpio, I find myself in a dark expanse of tangled branches aloft in the night sky with only the faint glimmer of stars to light the path that my vision must follow. Below me, a dark and tempestuous river flows, like one you might imagine carrying the souls of the recently departed to their final resting places. And I watch as the waves of black water rise and turn, and suddenly feel a strong arm reach around me from behind, clasping my waist, pulling me close to a warmth I can't identify, and yet I intuitively respond by embracing the arm and wrapping its strength tighter around me. My divine feminine seeks and spoons my divine masculine, finding an inner balance born of water and tears. Snake energy, scorpion, jaguar, crow, black bear all surround me here in this void as I explore a material darkness that echoes an inner darkness I have only begun to meet. The warm embrace I find here is the embodiment of the Scorpio moon, strong and protective, and yet seductive, charming, and alluring. All of my senses come to life as my vision adjusts to the darkness, and I can see an inner world of magic alive here amidst the spider's webs and jaguar's silent trails through uncharted forests. Here, my anger is allowed. With the Scorpio moon, my anger is safe. Here, I can explore all my fears safely, knowing that those lower realm creatures are holding sacred and open space for my exploration. Here, tonight, all of my desires are indulged, and I explore them relentlessly with the curiosity of a child. For here in Scorpio's embrace, I'm reminded that I only have this moment. The past, the future, they melt solidly into the black waters of that Scorpion river below me. I laugh, I kiss, I touch, I tease, I cry, I fight, I push, I pull, I surrender, I soften, I please, I satisfy, I receive, I allow. And these experiences are the unquestioned domain of Scorpio moon. Where I was initially hesitant to come down from my safe perch in the tree limbs, I now seek the nourishment of the Black River. It quenches my soul's thirst for a deeper connection. And I follow that thirst to the river's edge, reaching out my hand to gently touch the flow with my fingers. The water warms to my touch, and I reach my entire arm, and then my legs, and then my chest, and surrender completely to the water, letting it take me, letting it move me without resistance. And so it is with the Scorpio moon, an invitation to move without resistance, to surrender to love and the great mystery, to the river of passion that leads effortlessly to distant lands, exotic harbors, and erotic connections. I receive the blessings of the Scorpio moon and give thanks for their arrival tonight. Amen, aho, and so it is. So it is. Did that get you a little more in the mood? Okay, so we're going to quickly open our circle and get right into our meditation because I want you to have some beautiful time and space there. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you did. Okay. And I really want you to indulge yourself tonight. You know, the Scorpio moon doesn't come along for us very much. And so take this chance to kind of explore, like, what is that darkness within you? And how can you maybe work with that to find something in that that's going to be a source of power for you, you know, rather than a source of fear. I think a lot of us, especially women, are afraid of that deep, dark, sexy, you know, undercurrent of Scorpio. But why are we afraid? You know? And by the way, if you want what I just read to you, if you go to sagegoddess.com/blog, it's actually our newest blog post that we just released today. So you can print it out and you can read it and keep it. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to write one of those for each of the moon phases. So you'll always have, you know, a way of like coming back, because a year from now, you may not remember that. You'll want to reconnect with what does it mean to have a moon in Scorpio. And then what you might want to do is write your own. Wouldn't that be beautiful? I mean, that's my experience of the Scorpio moon. It makes me feel like there's big, you know, strong arms around me while I drive into a dark river where I meet shadow selves that teach me things. But your experience of it may be something very different. All I can say is I love it. I hope you do too. Okay, so calling the directions, we're going to open our circle. So just roll your shoulders back, sit up nice and straight, get nice and comfortable. Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of that. And Scorpio has strong ego, right? So one of Scorpios... Have you ever asked a Scorpio how they feel about themselves? It's almost funnier than asking a Leo how they feel about themselves. Almost. Anyway. They're feeling real good. And so that ego piece around, and the magician part of Scorpio, what they have to realize that the hardest challenge, I think, for Scorpios is realizing that they're not, the magic isn't coming from them, it's through them. You know, Scorpio still has this resistance to like them not being the magic. You know what I mean? And so, but we all have to learn we're not the magic. But Scorpio resists, like, well, I'm a little bit of the magic. It's like, well, yeah, yes, you're a channel. Scotty says you don't have to ask Scorpio what they think of themselves. Is true. They're doing real good. You don't have to worry about them. Okay. So roll your shoulders back, hands on your knees, or your you know, your wherever you're comfortable, with your palms facing up to be receiving for energy. I want you to imagine that out of your left hand extends a beautiful beam of white light, about 4 to 6 inches in diameter. That is the light that will encompass all of us tonight as we circle together. So grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful for your presence. I'm grateful for your energy. I'm grateful for your beauty. I'm grateful for your love. I'm grateful for your intuition, as you bring all of that here. And the circle would not be the same without you. So thank you for being here. And that beautiful beam of light is going to spread all the way around our circle clockwise, crossing oceans and continents to come back ultimately to you in your right hand. And when it does, you'll be holding both ends of the beautiful circle that connects us tonight across space and time. And so any energy that you want to send across the circle, know that it always comes back to you, but you can send love to all of us. You can send whatever intention you're holding tonight. You can send us compassion, peace, knowing that it always returns to you. And so I'm going to call just very briefly to the 4 directions, just more intuitively than reading to you, because I've been doing that lately, and you know, I kind of enjoy it, but I like to read it sometimes too. So we always go first to the east. The east is the new beginning. I just made a beautiful new medicine wheel that you'll see in a couple of weeks, and it's based on archetypes. And so in the east, we see, you know, the dawn of day. And so in the east, we see beautiful eagle coming through. It's the new opportunity for a new beginning. And tonight is that for you, especially around your emotions and around love. Tonight is a reboot for you in your relationship context. And so what do you want to experience? What do you want to create? And who do you want to call in? Who do you need to call in to experience and to create what you want in your life? And so tonight we're so grateful in the east, calling in guardian spirits, compassionate spirit animals who are in the east, especially eagle, who teaches us to fly high so that we have clear vision and clear sight. And we honor the guardians and gateways of this sacred direction tonight. I'm thankful for your presence. In the south, we greet the element of fire. And so in the south, it's about courage, it's about possibility, it's about being able to play a little bit. Some of the archetypes that we see in the south We definitely see a little bit of the trickster. We see a lot of the creator in the south, because that's all sacral energy coming up in the south, which is your seat of creation and procreation. And so we're so thankful for generative energies in the south. Those of us who live in the south, I do as a double fire sign, we know this direction well, and this is home for us. And we're very used to pushing forward in the world and creating what doesn't exist yet. So we're so thankful for creative energies in the south. We welcome our guardian angels, our spirit helpers, our animal spirit guides and guardians as well, and the guardians and gateways, guardians of the gateways of that direction. And then in the west, we greet the element of water. And so here's where we connect more deeply to our emotions. The west is where we find Scorpio, of course. So this is Scorpio's home. As well as a lot of the animals, creatures in the oceans. I always like to think about the deep water creatures when I think about Scorpio. Think about squid and octopus and how they navigate the deepest waters. That is Moon and Scorpio. Moon and Scorpio people are not afraid to talk about sex and death, which are the two things that our culture does not like to talk about. They love to talk about it. I love it too. I'm not Moon and Scorpio, but I sure like it. And so we are thankful to the guardians and in all seriousness, we are so thankful to the West, because the West takes us deep. If we are at equilibrium in the East. In the East, we're over here, we're sort of flying, with the horizon. We get to the West, it drops off, and we are down in the bottom of the ocean. And that's hard to navigate, which is why we need Moon and Scorpio. So thankful for the guardians of that gateway. And then in the north, we greet the element of earth, all of our ancestors, our great teachers. The Druids are in the north. And many of the tree people, the stone people, also reside in the north. So we're so thankful for the anchors that the north provides a platform for us to launch and to move into our spiritual work, feeling safe and protected and anchored. And so we give thanks tonight, both to the stone people, the tree people, as well as all of our spirit guardian animals, the guardians and gateways of the northern direction. And so we are anchored. And then in the center of the medicine wheel, of course, is the heart. That's spirit. And that's where you find your anchor. And so tonight, wherever you are with spirit, check in there and make sure that your heart space is open, because tonight that's going to be very, very important. Especially if you've been hurt, you're going to have to create space tonight. And so our circle is open. Now, I smudged heavily before we all started, many times. I'm just going to do one additional burst of sage for all of you online with my torch. My favorite thing. It really is. I'm an amateur pyromaniac. I don't have like very professional skills, but sure do like to burn things. What? Makes me a fun mom. I'm like, I wonder if we could burn that. It's usually the kids who are asking that, not the parents. I wonder if we could burn that. Okay. So roll your shoulders back to that receptive position, palms up. Close your eyes. Before you close your eyes, actually, I would like to anoint with the perfumes. So whichever one you're working with. I'm working with both Isis and Osiris tonight, because for me, they're counterpoints, and I'm calling in the union of the divine masculine and feminine. It's up to you. So if you prefer just to work with one or the other. Isis is definitely the more delicate and feminine. And so Osiris is the more masculine. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually putting Osiris on my receiving hand, because I need a little bit more of that masculine energy. I'm heavily in the feminine right now, and I'm putting Isis on my projecting hand. So just a little bit on my third eye for what I know, and just a little bit at my ankles for where I go. Don't you love the ritual of anointing? I love it. It's very sacred and as old as time. I'm going to pass those around. Choose the stones you want to work with tonight, by the way. And if you'd like, and it's a beautiful practice actually, you can also scatter some of your herbs around your altar right now as an offering. So I'm just going to do that briefly. I'm just going to scatter a few pieces of the herbs. And you can do that even if you're here in the room. You can just scatter them right in front of you. Create sacred space, y'all. We do it with herbs sometimes. It's very important. And what's beautiful too is if you are going to set up any kind of altar in your home, you can make a little, replica of it outside and scatter your herbs in your garden as offerings. It's a beautiful practice. So tonight, I've been working with malachite all day, which I actually have free for everybody who's in the room tonight too, because malachite is just so important. So I'm going to work with malachite tonight. I'm not going to work with my desert rose selenite, which doesn't look G-rated, but it's a Scorpio moon.
That was like kind of the 13 piece you were talking about.
Kind of. There were some inappropriate jokes being told about that little piece of selenite today. I'm going to leave it alone. So I'm going to work with carnelian tonight and malachite. This is the piece I've been working with all day. So I'm going to continue working with this piece of malachite. You choose your stone medicine. We work with malachite, by the way, in love because it's the most powerful stone for clearing karmic energy around love relationships. Did you know that? Sometimes we stay in relationship too long because we haven't released the karmic connect. We haven't released the karmic cord. And so malachite is for you if you're not even sure which cords need to be released, but it helps you. It's not a cord cutting stone, but it just helps you become aware of where those blocks are. Does that make sense to you? There's very few stones that do that, but malachite's very important for that. So that's why I'm working with that stone tonight. Okay. Let's find our blocks around the heart chakra, shall we? Rolling your shoulders back in that receptive position. I'm going to hold my stones. You can place your stones on your altar if you prefer. Just taking a nice deep cleansing breath, calling your energy into present time. And so tonight, Isis, goddess, we greet you with such reverence and such gratitude. And we come to you as the goddess who has such an incredible connection to her divine masculine, to her God. And you have so much to teach us, Isis, about finding the places in ourselves where we still have work to do, where we still have karmic pockets, karmic debt that has not been resolved. And knowing that we can't fully move into relationship on the level that we want to, on the level that we deserve, until we move through and release some of that karmic energy. And so tonight, Isis, for each person who's watching, each person who's in the room, as we move into this meditation, our intention is that you will take us back, just as you collected the 13 pieces of your beloved, just as you went back and gathered each piece of him with such love. And we think about our own beloveds or a relationship we'd like to have. We think about our own beloveds and how much we want really to see them whole and well again, don't we? And ourselves too. We think about relationships and pain that we've experienced. We want to move through all of that and put those pieces back together so that we can be whole and well. And so tonight, Isis, we're calling in that energy. We're asking you to be a guide for us, to take us back from infancy to the future, even, because the future is happening now. All time is happening in a synchronous pattern. And so we ask you to take us tonight from infancy to the end of our life and help us take that needle and weave that thread through those 13 places where we are disconnected. Help us to reform and reshape that connection tonight. And part of it tonight, I want you to really hold an intention right now as we begin. What is your intention tonight? Do you want to do this healing really just for yourself? Do you want to do this healing so that you are connecting more intentionally with your partner? What is your focus tonight? And it's really good if your intention is for yourself. You know, I'm always saying you can't really be fully in a healthy dynamic with a partner if you still have work to do of your own, right? You have to go through and do all of that. And so do you want to begin with you? I think that's a beautiful place to begin. The only thing you can't do ethically is do this work for someone else on their behalf. We can't do magic for other people, but we certainly can do it with an intention of entering into sacred partnership as a whole and complete and well person. And so what I want you to do is I want you to really relax now. Relax your shoulders, relax your arms. And I want you to imagine that you're just being picked up almost on a cloud and lifted up from wherever you are, totally relaxing your body, letting go of your need to control, letting go of your need to know, just surrendering completely to this moment and to what's going to be shown to you tonight. And I want you to imagine just an energy coming and picking you up, like I said, almost just on a cloud and lifting you up and transporting you now to the first of the places where you have a pocket, where there's some resistance or there needs to be healing. And this could be a very early place in your life. And part of the process here is surrendering and giving permission to be taken back now. Are you willing to go back and to see these places where part of your heart was divided? So let's go back to that first place. Where's that first pocket that you need to heal? And Isis is showing us how this is a part of ourselves that's been lost and that we need to reconnect here. And in each of the places, I want you to take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, I want you to allow. I want you to allow the healing, allow the energy to come through, allow the... And for me, it's hitting in the solar plexus. Wherever it comes for you, just allow that healing to anchor in your physical body. And now, Isis, take us to the second place. And allow her to move. She may want to take you from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 10. It may be very fast. You know, the places and pockets where you have resistance and pain from the past that needs to be healed, sometimes they're connected. And as we go through, just watch your breath, taking you to place after place. And in all of these pockets, I want you to just breathe forgiveness and breathe surrender. You know, when you get to these pockets and you feel that pain again, sometimes your ego or your heart even will go, because all of a sudden you're back. And when that happens, just breathe and trust that you're being taken here tonight with your guides, with her help, to remember, to literally remember yourself. Back to the fourth place, to the fifth place. And where are you here? Is this your little girl self? Is this your little boy self? Like, who are we meeting here in these places that we're going? And I'm just sending so much love as you move through these, you know, phases and stages. Take us to the sixth places and the seventh places. And just stay with the breath. It's okay to let it go. And it's okay to let it come. It's okay to let it connect. It's okay to put the pieces of that puzzle of you back together. It's okay. It doesn't mean you change anything. It doesn't mean you forget anything. It doesn't mean you regret anything. It just means you're allowing it to come through and be clear for you now. And Isis, stay with us. Show us the 10th and 11th and 12th as we stay with the breath. And these may be places where you gave up your power. Yeah? These may be places where you said no to your own sovereignty. These may be places where you said no to your own wisdom. You may have gone against your own best judgment in these places, and it's okay. You're human, and you're loved, and you're held, and it's okay. It's okay. Forgiving everyone involved in all of these moments and pockets, knowing that anyone involved in these places of wounding within you has their own karma to work through. So we're sending love and light as we release, 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 connect, 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 connect. And I want you to feel it, like things locking into place. Lock, 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 lock. As all these places and parts of you come back together. Maybe the first time in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. That's okay. It's okay. That's okay. Isn't it amazing how fast the work that can happen? One of my most favorite parts of the work that I do is how quick. People think they have to wait a long time. Spirit time is very fast. It's very powerful. And so once you feel that Isis has taken you to these places and that you have seen them and that you have given permission for those pockets to be cleared, I want you to light your candle. We're doing it differently tonight. You ready? And if you're not ready, take your time. Move through the pockets. Just move through the pockets. And I want you to really sit with, what's coming up in each of the pockets and allow and take the deep breath and release. In this room, it should sound like this. It should sound like Lamaze in here right now, and it doesn't. And so I'm just going to invite the deep breathing. Stay with the breath. It's okay. And I'm calling in your guides. You can call in your guides too. If heavier stuff than you're expecting is coming up for you right now, call in your guides and give them permission to surround you, to support you, to embrace you, to release on your behalf, to heal on your behalf. And you can also sometimes, if the energy that's coming through is really heavy and really hard, you can imagine between your hips, I mean literally between your hips, sending down a trunk of a tree, like from between your hips down in the center of the earth, as wide as your hips, and just push, push, push all the energy that's coming through. Don't hold it in your body. Imagine it passing through you like smoke, or imagining sending it down like a thick liquid down into the center of your tree, down through the roots, down into the center of the earth. But don't hold it. That's how we as empaths start gaining weight, because we hold. And I'm training you not to do that. Don't do that. Yeah? You have guides. You may not have seen them or worked with them before, and so just close your eyes. A lot of guides are formless, and so if you're looking for them, you can be looking for a very long time. So sometimes a lot of us feel our guides more than we see them. Know that they are surrounding you at all times. Know that they're surrounding you at all times. But you do have to ask your guides for help. They don't come unbidden. It's kind of beautiful that way. Can you imagine? One day you'll be a guide if that's your path. And I wonder if you'll maybe understand better then why they don't come unbidden. Okay, when you're ready, you can light your candle. I'm lighting both of mine tonight. You can light just one if you prefer. And here in the classroom, we have multiple sources of fire that I can pass around. Anybody needs one? Yes, if you're an empath and you're having a hard time gaining weight, it's energetic, most likely, or a hard time losing weight. Releasing, 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 releasing. And so, when you come to the last, when you have seen the last of the spaces, and she may not take you 13 places, she may take you fewer places, she may take you more places. I feel like I've seen a lot tonight in my own little winding meditation, so it could be like 20 little places or 10 bigger places. Don't hold on to the number 13. When you feel like you've seen what you need to see, then you'll be ready to blow out your candle. So what we're going to do is, this is the breath of love. Remember I told you my favorite quote from the Isis and Osiris story is that she breathed the breath of life into him? You know, the breath is so important. In shamanic practice, we breathe into our stones. We set an intention, we breathe into our stones. We breathe on our clients, we breathe. I mean, the breath is everything. It is the breath of life. And so we use it as a sacred tool. It's very important. Your breath is very important. And so when you blow out a candle, which is why some people don't like to blow out candles, because they think the life force is so sacred. They don't like to use it in that way. But when you blow out your candle, that's what you're doing, is you're extending your life force across the candle, and you're taking the intention and you're spreading it with your life force out into the universe. So when you're ready, you can choose one of two ways to do this. You can either breathe the breath of life into yourself, which I think is a beautiful way of doing this ritual. Okay, so totally support you if you do that. You can also choose to breathe the breath of life into your partnership, whether you have one or not. And that's a powerful gesture to do tonight. So only do that if you're ready, okay? And by the way, it'd be really great if you had permission from that partner. I don't want you breathing the breath of life into a partnership where the person's like, excuse me? I'm sorry, what? Not to make this awkward, but you ready? Deep breath. Are you ready to breathe the breath of life either into yourself or into your partnership? Are you ready? That's right. Put your own oxygen mask on before assisting others. Put your own life force mask on. You ready? Maria wants to know if she can just breathe out her husband. You sure can. I don't know what that's going to look like. That sounds kind of exciting, but I'm going to blow out my Osiris candle too. That feels like breathing the feminine and breathing the masculine. And the more you work with energy, the more you'll come to appreciate that there really is a masculine vibration and a feminine vibration, and we all hold both. And learning how to calibrate yourself is really important. Some months you'll feel like you're more into the masculine, and some months you'll feel like you're more into the feminine, and then you'll know how to regulate, which is really powerful. It's easier for those of us who've been both for so long. Like when I'm too much into the feminine, I check it. And I only find out I'm too much in the masculine. My husband's like, you're kind of being a dude. Sorry, you girl. Okay. So I want you to take a moment before we open our circle and conclude the meditation just to check in with yourself. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Did you go places? Did you find pockets? Yeah? When you were in there, do you feel like you released something that needed to be let go of? We can release at the full moon too. I mean, we celebrate fullness, but it's also a really good time to surrender anything, especially to the elements that don't need to be with you anymore. Yeah, sacral healing for Trixie. That's so good. That's so, so good. Carrie's smoke went to the east, which always means she's really ready for a new beginning, which is very exciting too. So, going into those places in your past can be a little difficult. So here's what I want to say about this. If you'd like to continue this work tonight, give your guides permission to work with you in dream time. They will come to you in your dreams, but a lot of times they need permission to do that. And just be gentle with yourself. Sometimes as these memories come back, especially old memories and things that you've sort of like put in their place, you need time to process that. And so give yourself that time and space. Talk to someone if you feel the need to. You can always jump into our groups too, and we can help you process. Shannon was saying she went very, very deep too. So it was a quick meditation, but it was deep. And so just honoring that and making sure that you get the resources that you need. The other thing is to drink a lot of water tonight. When we move that much energy and we travel space and time like that so fast, your body needs a way to release all the toxins that you've stirred up, especially from old experiences. Energy is very real, and it takes material form in your body. And I will tell you, I'm totally serious. This is why empaths get sick and gain weight, because they don't do this last step. They hold everything in their body, they don't release, and they don't realize that emotions are energy and that they manifest in the material. And so constantly clearing your energy field, smudging every day, imagining energy moving through you like smoke, it shouldn't sit here at all. If you've got any kind of pain or digestive problems or any weight gain around the middle, that's a good sign to you as an empath that you're holding too much. Okay, so back to that receptive position. Isis and Osiris, we give thanks tonight for your presence in the circle, for the archetypal energies that you represent to us. Truly a love energy that defies space and time. They are the immortal lovers, together really forever as king and queen of the underworld, but even as king and queen of Egypt. There's something timeless and eternal about their love that inspires us even today. And I believe that love exists for you, by the way. If you haven't had it yet, set the intention. Use this next full moon, in fact, coming up, or this next new moon. Set the intention to experience that love in your life. You deserve it. Everyone should have it at a certain point. You feeling good? That's good. Okay, so rolling your shoulders back. We're so grateful to you. Grateful to the energies, grateful to the guides, releasing all of the guides, all of the archangels and angels who supported us tonight, releasing the ancestors who may have joined us, releasing Isis and Osiris from the circle with gratitude and humility, releasing the guardians of the north, the wisdom, the tree people and stone people, all of our ancestors and teachers in the north. We're so thankful for your presence tonight. We release you. In the west, we release all these emotions that have been stirred up by Scorpio tonight. But appreciating them, appreciating what our darkness can teach us, appreciating what we can learn from our own uncharted territories. And remember that Moon in Scorpio is always going to teach you to go there and not to be afraid to explore, because they're not afraid to explore. So we're so thankful in the west, we release you. In the south, fire, courage, a little bit of fun and play, sexy creation, which is also manifest in this relationship. Horus was the love child of Isis and Osiris. And he was their physical celebration of their union. And it's really beautiful. There aren't a lot of intentional conception stories. Couples who conceive with intention, who are, when they are having sex, they're mindful of the fact that they're creating life. You don't see a lot of those throughout mythology, but Isis and Osiris were intentional when they conceived Horus, and I think that's a beautiful story. It's beautiful for that essence and energy to know that it was created in love with intention. So we release you from the circle south in the east. We're so grateful for the new beginning, to Eagle for teaching us to fly high and see clearly, and for teaching us also in the east not to hold energy, but to let energy move through like smoke. And so as we embrace this new beginning, we release you from your service to the circle tonight. We also relieve spirit from the center and the heart space. So thankful for anchoring our heart tonight in circle. We're very glad that you were here. Oops. Okay, so we are back. So a few things I want you to meditate on tonight before I talk to you about next month, because we're going to carry a little bit of this energy forward. I want you to meditate tonight upon what is dead in your life. That wasn't subtle, I'm sorry. But I really do. Moon in Scorpio is about death. It's really funny. If you Moon and Scorpio people are what we call the nature's morticians. They're very comfortable with death. They have, I mean, truly, there actually is a preponderance of people with Moon and Scorpio in the death and dying professions. They're just very comfortable with it. And so one of the things Moon and Scorpio people teach us is how to work with decomposition. You know, letting the dead leaves fall. And also looking at your life. It's okay to look at your life a couple times a year. In fact, I would invite you to do that. And in fact, I would invite you tonight to look around and go, you know what? All done. You know, people don't automatically have a right to be in your life. That's my personal opinion. And so they earn that. And so sometimes we need to like check it and make sure that people are still on a good visa. You know what I mean? That they still have all their paperwork, and you know what I do too is I sometimes with love, you know, whenever I go through these cycles, sometimes with love, I will kind of let people go on Facebook too a little bit, especially right now. If it's super political, I can't with that right now. It's not that I'm not looking or paying attention or caring. It's just that's not where I want to go for politics on Facebook. I want to go maybe to the news or just other places where maybe there's different levels of conversation happening that are more anchored in you know what's really happening versus emotion. So anyway, so I just, you know, sometimes it's good to go through your life, and the Scorpio moon is a great chance to vet and say yes, 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 no, yes, 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 no, yes, 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 no. Does that make sense? Okay. That can be fun. Always remember, you know, to do that with love. So when I make a decision about that, I usually say, you know, with love, I release this person from my circle and wish them all the best and move on their way, because you're curating your life. You know that, right? Scorpio moon will teach you that. You're curating your life. If you don't like your life, that's your own fault. I'm sorry. Make a new one. Maybe it starts with the people. You know what I mean? Maybe you need more fun people. Do you need fun people? I have a lot of fun. And I prioritize fun. And if people are super boring, I really don't spend a lot of time with them. Not into that. I didn't come here to be boring. Do I look like I came here to be boring? People are like, I don't know, you want to just sit around and hold hands? No, I don't want to, actually. I want to go or do something. I have a, you know. Okay. I'm a double fire site. What do you want? Okay. Yeah, so Geraldine said something very interesting in her comment. She said, I asked for a love to be dead, not the person, but the love I have for this person. And that is okay in my book. You know, I think part of the challenge is I'm studying aging, okay, in my free time. I'm very interested in why some people age, some people don't. You know, I don't know what free time that is, but like, you know, from 3 to 4 a.m. on Mondays, I study aging. But in all seriousness, I'm really studying it because I'm fascinated. I'm in my mid-40s. I'm very fascinated by why some people don't age well and some people do. And sure, there's things you can do and money you can buy, but I know people who are aging really well and they're not doing those things. So I'm very curious. So I'm like informally interviewing, like it's like informal qualitative research, right? And one of the #1 things I'm finding is the people who are shriveling up. I mean, it sounds sad to say it, but they look much older than they should in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. They look like they're in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. Those people are holding on to crap from their past. I mean, it's just every time I connect and it's like, so what are you doing? You know, what are you? It's like nothing's moving. Their body's not moving. Their energy's not moving. Their thoughts aren't moving. And that's not youthful. That's old. Do you know what I mean? That's stuck and that's dying and that's dead. And I wonder sometimes for those people, what if tonight They let go of all of that. What their mom did, what their sister did, that they're still talking about 30 years later, you know what I mean? Like what their kid did, can you imagine? Anyway, I think they live longer. It's just a hunch. I'm trying to get some data for them. Desi says she looks 14. Good for you. That would scare me to look 14, but I certainly don't want to look, I don't want to look 45, but I don't want to look 14. That's right. That's really right. Okay. So, for next month, a couple things happening right now. So we did a little surprise thing for you guys tonight, especially for full moon, because we do a lot of fun like discount codes and things for our communities and my classes and things like that, but we don't do a lot for full moon. So we've done full moon 13 tonight. Usually it's 11, but 13. So you're saving 13% instead of 11 with full moon 13 for the next 24 hours. That's just a special gift for full moon because we have not done that before. The kits for next month are Shakti and Shiva. I know, everybody's excited. You guys have been asking me for 2 years to do Shiva and Shakti, but here's the thing. It's the art that held us up. Okay, because I have not connected really with most of the art around Shiva and Shakti that I have seen until my graphic design team made this, which to me is a much, I can find myself here. I couldn't really find myself with Shiva and Shakti before. So if we're doing these fun things where if you get both kits, you get presents. This is your free gift if you get both kits, plus you get a red sandalwood and Rudraksha bead bracelet, which is the red sandalwood is for Shakti and the Rudraksha is for Shiva. So this is their union and this is their union. So this is our gift to you. Plus, if you buy both kits, you also get a free bottle of an additional perfume called Divine Union, which if you guys want to smell that, is pretty heavenly. I'm going to send that around. Would you guys like to smell Shiva and Shakti? They're two of my favorite ritual perfumes I've ever created. So I'm going to send these around too. These are the brand new ones that just went live today. And we're importing essential oils from, isn't that fun to see the difference? So Shiva is opaque because it's resin based, and Shakti is clear because she's essential oil based. It's fun, right? Like how the different ones show up. So I'll give these to you guys just to pass them around and play with. You're welcome. All right. Yeah, so you can't purchase the poster. It's a gift. So if you buy the Shiva and Shakti sets for next month, if you buy both sets, you get the poster for free as a gift. Kind of fun, isn't it? One of the things, let me just tell you, not to bias you from one set to another, but in Shiva, for the first time ever, there's tanzanite, like a huge chunk of tanzanite. I really wanted to do this for Shiva because it's an important stone for Shiva, but it's also a very expensive stone. So the retail value, this is about $20 or $25. And then there's pink lepidolite. Isn't that cool? For the first time, we've never had pink lepidolite. So some of our fun two sunstones and our new essential oils are all in there for you guys. Okay. So next month, June, we are going to have a live summer solstice ritual from Hawaii, which I'm very excited about. So we're going to be doing a summer solstice Lemurian ritual from Hawaii live that you guys can all tune into, which I think will be very cool. And then we have our full moon ritual here too. So those are two big events for June. Can you believe it's summer solstice already? Like, what? I'm sorry, how did we get there? The year's half over, you guys. If 2017 is not yet looking and feeling and tasting, since we're under a Scorpio moon, if it's not looking, feeling, tasting like you want it to, then now is the time. And so I want you to really think this month about setting some, I'm cold, setting some new moon intentions coming up in just a couple of weeks. And then what you can start to do is chart your progress. So you set your intentions at the new moon, and then at the full moon, you see how the universe is making progress, and you check that. And then at the next new moon, you set intentions for the next full cycle. And that's how you start to live your life in these lunar cycles and lunar phases, which I think is really exciting. All the wedding anniversaries. My wedding anniversary is in July too. So yeah, so we are traveling to Hawaii. We're going to be opening a healing center in between 3 and 5 years. And so this is we're going to Hawaii to set intentions and to begin to break ground there, to have Sage Goddess move, not permanently move, but we will have satellite healing centers on the islands in about 5 years. So this is the beginning of that phase. We're very excited. Yeah, so there'll be live chat, live everything. Of course, if you're in Oahu, you can also join me live. So if you're going to be on Oahu during that time at summer solstice, please send me a private message. I'm going to try to get a circle of women together. I've already got about 5 people who've reached out. So if you're going to be, or if you'd like to go. My suitcase is really big. could just squeeze you and put you in. But if you're going to be on the island of Oahu during that time, we'd love to have a live circle happening too. And so we'll set that up. You guys have to let us know and send us a message, and we'll play. Wouldn't it be fun, like a year from now, to actually do a retreat? That's just dreamy. Maybe we'll set the intention for that at the new moon. All right. Well, we are 10 minutes over the top of the hour. I'm going to do a little ritual work with people in the room who can stay for a few minutes. I want to wish you well. Don't forget your code, full moon 13. You can use that from now until midnight tomorrow. That is available for you. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody. Enjoy your work with Isis and Osiris. May eternal love be yours. I believe that all of us have eternal love as a birthright. And so I hope you get to enjoy it and experience it. Oh, I did it. I did it as we were releasing the directions. I just didn't sort of do the formal thing. Yeah. You know what? I'll do it formally with the selenite, though. Does that sound good? That sort of like completes it. Our circle is officially open. Good night, everybody. Love you very much. Thank you for being here.